morning. Holy cow, audio quality, right? So, not a whole lot going on this morning. Hope everybody's doing all right. I wanted to talk a little bit today about what it's like to try to be a YouTuber, brand new from scratch in 2019. So, I was watching some videos, probably over the past couple of days here, of people just talking about how incredibly dissatisfied they are with YouTube. And of course I'm in the know, I'm a huge fan of all the various channels going through the various politics and ugliness that is YouTube and every other social media platform out there right now. So I know what's going on. I'm paying attention. I see. And let's kind of tell you my perspective on it as I sit here with 9 subscribers, each and every single one of you, close, good friends of mine. Thank you so much. I don't know, I guess it's a small thing maybe to click on subscribe and, just kind of be subjected to notifications when I put videos up. I suppose to some folks that might be a small thing, but, to me it means a little bit more. It's, I don't know. It's kind of like a little way of saying, what you're trying to do is valuable. I really appreciate that. You guys are great. I love you all. But yeah, so starting off 2019, brand new, I actually had a stupid little Counter-Strike Global Offensive gaming channel back in like 2014, and I just turned out unedited, full-length Counter-Strike Global Offensive videos where I just did dumb stuff, and it was dumb. It's what I thought would work in 2014. It's funny because all this stuff I do now, it's very kind of Christ-focused, kind of philosophy-focused. And I said back then, I'm starting this gaming channel as a way to attract people, and then I'm going to do the whole real talk, real meaningful stuff, content on the back end and kind of bring everybody with me. Yeah, it's funny. It's probably better to start with what you mean to do than try to switch sides midway. But yeah, that channel had 32 subscribers by the time I was done. And just to let you know the quality of those subscribers, nothing has been uploaded in 5 years and it still has 32 subscribers. So there you go. Anyway, but what is it like to be a from-scratch YouTuber who has something to say, wants to talk about the world in 2019, sitting here with a fresh 9 subscribers, feeling really good about it, man. When I hit 10, double digits, dude, I'm going to throw a party. I don't know what to tell you. It's fun. It's fun right now. So my channel has already had monetization disabled. I don't think that has very much to do with my content. When I read it, it's got this thing, it says you had to set up AdSense, so I did that. And then it said something like, when you have 4,000 watched hours, I think it was. Don't hold me to this because I read it briefly like 3 nights ago. So I'm not exactly sure. I think it was something like 4,000 watched hours and 100 subscribers. At that point, they do like a review to make sure that they can monetize it, something like that. Well, what I went ahead and did, and I said, okay, well, you can go ahead and do your review then. I'm just going to go ahead and do the things you've asked to set it up now so that I don't have to worry about it. And maybe, just maybe, it'll start building some sort of working relationship. I'm not sure what my idea behind it was, but that was kind of what I was thinking. So, as of today, it's like everyone says, it says monetization is disabled. Now, I'm not going to pretend I didn't start doing this to try to make a little bit of side income. I mean, I don't think anybody would be on YouTube with so many other options out there if the money wasn't part of the aspect. I mean, okay, so I guess there's also the potential audience as well, because that's where essentially everyone is. But I will say, as a brand new YouTuber in 2019, it's, you want to have a good job first. you don't want to be putting all your eggs in this basket. You don't want to be relying on this. You definitely want options, because if you're, a young kid trying to actually start something for the future, kind of like a modern day Mr. Beast just getting started, that dude is awesome. If that's what you're doing, or if you need it for your main source of income because you've been laid off or let go and you need to work from home and make this thing happen now, I can't recommend it. And I think that really speaks to what a lot of people are saying about YouTube. It was at one point, I want to say, 2007, 2008 through 2012, starting today, I wish I would have gotten on the ball a lot sooner, because back then, not going to say that necessarily you were going to be a millionaire. You're not necessarily going to be PewDiePie, but you might have, made enough to start a little investment account that's, paying you maintenance income now. You might have, made a down payment on a house that is paid off with a regular job with that money now. You might have, right? It might have been enough to create some financial venues for you that you would be benefiting from now. Sure. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it now. My main goal is to obviously unite people again. Obviously rotate the direction, turn the direction of how we look at politics, people, culture, pain and suffering into something more productive. That's my goal, is to figure out how to do that and kind of bring folks with me to do it as well. That's my main goal. But financially, I'm maybe hoping that, maybe I'll just create a few more opportunities that can turn into something else. That's kind of the goal. I'm not going to replace my job here. I'm not going to do any of those things. But sitting here with 9 subscribers and no idea why, already having monetization disabled, I'm not 100% sure that this is really the best idea. It's like, what am I doing, It's like I said, I'm not blind to what's been happening in social media. I'm not blind to the politics of this new and rather unfortunate world. I'm not ignorant of it. It's like, maybe I should have paid closer attention. Maybe I shouldn't have bothered. But one of the big things is this, if it's all about money from start to finish, then there's really no point to doing it in the first place. Truthfully, there isn't. First off, people are going to see it, that it's all about money, and you're not going to make any. So there's that. Second off, if it's all about money, then just go to work. There's no point. There's no point. This has got to be fun. This has got to have a purpose of some sort or another besides just money. So, my reasons, I just want to build something. I want to build something worth building. That's it. I want to help people find what they're looking for. I want to find what I'm looking for. And I want to do it with people. That's my reason. But as a YouTuber in 2019, I'm not particularly hopeful. Honestly, I think the real reason I'm going to end up being here is because my soul cries out to be heard. I've got a lamp. It's been under a bushel. It's been under a basket. I'm trying to place it up on the stand. I want to share what I have. I believe it's been given to me. The ability to speak, the ability to enunciate my ideas, even though I may, kind of dart all over the place when I do it. I believe that's a gift given to me by the Father, and the notion of wasting that seems absolutely horrible to me. So many people already out there doing what I'm doing. You've got Jordan Peterson, you've got Steven Crowder, you've got Ben Shapiro, obviously. Those are the main three that I watch or care about what they have to say. But one thing that I feel that they're missing, and I've talked about this, what I feel that they're missing is how the situation has evolved. Because it has evolved. They aren't exactly talking about what we do next. And that's one thing I wrote about years ago in my blog, was that we have superbly identified the problem. And we've done that on both sides. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of the folks on the left have some really excellent complaints. That's another reason I'm actually trying to do what I'm doing here, is to honestly to kind of level with everybody. I'm tired of the left-right paradigm. But for the longest time, everybody has just said, these are the problems. You know, all we do is bitch. We just bitch. We just bitch and whine and complain. It's useless. You know, it's been good to identify it, but at some point somebody has to step in and say, okay, let's make a plan and fix it. And that's where a lot of people get thrown off, man, because God, the problems that we have created for ourselves as people through government and through culture are Leviathan. They are gargantuan. They are so humongous and so intimidating. Who in their right mind would even bother to try? And I say, well, as God is my witness, I'm gonna try, you know? There's nothing bigger than my Lord. There's nothing bigger than my Father, and where He says go, I'll go. I don't care. I can't care. But I'm not gonna say, look, I'm 32 years old, all right? I feel old. I feel like time has passed. I feel like opportunity wasted. I'm super conscious of the time that is gone, the time that has been wasted, the time that I could have used. Hyper conscious of that. And I wasted a lot of time when I could have been trying to say what needs to be said, trying to get people to hear each other. I know that the likelihood of actually being able to get people to talk to each other again, based off of what I'm saying, it's not that great. But if the Father's will is there, it's not going to be me that makes it happen. So that's kind of my purpose. We've all heard, like I said, Steven Crowder, Jordan Peterson. He offers a lot of solutions. I really like his stuff. I actually listened to his 12 Rules for Life on audio tape. It was a really good listen. I recommend it. Yeah, out there on Audible. It's done in his voice. The Death of Cool by Gavin McInnes. That's on audiobook with his voice. Also a good listen. He gets a little weepy in there at one point about some of his friends and family as it relates to the events that occurred on 9/11. So that's good. Very emotional moment, you know. Yeah, I mean, these guys, they've got a lot of solution-oriented talking, and for them it starts on a personal level, and I'm really good with that. I think my stuff probably starts on a personal level too. I guess maybe I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. Just a little broader, maybe a little less focused, a little more big picture. But that's my goal. I want to speak on behalf of the right. I want to speak on behalf of the left. And I'm working on it, guys. I understand the notion of somebody like me doing that for you it probably just makes you sick. But I've been talking and I've been listening to you guys. We're really not that far off. Turns out the middle point in all of this, the middle of where we all stand, actually is not nearly as abhorrent as folks on the far right think it is. It's not nearly as abhorrent as the people on the far left think it is. We actually, those people that we were in 2001 and in 98, those people who were kind of united, they're still there. They are still there. They're still in us. Believe it or not, it really is still there. I think the worst can be avoided. I'm starting to be hopeful. And now, having said all this about the folks who complain and bitch, all the people who throw out the problems and identify the issues in politics, the Steven Crowders, it's not to say, it is definitely not to say that you guys didn't do some good. Because I firmly am convinced that if it hadn't been for you guys, if it hadn't been for these guys laying out and doing this work, again, left, not attacking you, but you guys are such that you are voracious enough that you would have eaten us. Without those guys, we wouldn't have the ability to talk and calm the hell down now. What we would instead be doing, if it hadn't been for the voices on the right trying to bring balance back in a world and a media structure that was absolutely dominated by the left, and is still working very hard to be dominated by the left. Don't get me messed up. These guys are still doing everything they can to put themselves back at the top of the hierarchy and gain that power back. The right's taken a chunk of flesh from them. They have fought the good fight, and they have, really grabbed the viewership from them. But if it hadn't been for the right and the speakers on the right, we would be approaching this now from a position of, oh my gosh, we can't say anything about anyone or about anything. This is totalitarian. This is ugly. What have we allowed to happen? Now it's an emergency. Now we have to get back. And you guys held back the floodgates, man. You did. I'm super proud to have been amongst your viewership. I am super proud to have been, I never was effective enough to be among your ranks, I did a few things when I was younger. Nothing was ever effective. I did this little concept called Rogue, and basically what it was is get your buddies together and go walk around industrial and downtown and like drainage systems, like ravines and stuff at midnight, and pretend that you're like 15-year-olds in 1985. That's basically what Rogue was. It was, remember what it was like when we were kids and we were rascals and all that? Well, we're going to do that again. We love the skateboarders who are out at 11:30, longboarding down parking garages. Hey, kind of explains where my Cobalt Blue came from, right? Parking garages came from Rogue. We're going to get into that. We're going to elevate this exploratory nature, this rebellious behavior, and we're going to elevate that and use it to bring people together somehow. I don't remember what the point was. It wasn't really well put together, but it was fun for a few years. I'm not going to lie. We did some draining. We did some exploring. We did some urbex. God, I miss urbex. I wish I was still in good enough shape to do urban exploration. I've got an old video out there of where I actually located and found one of a set of draining tunnels in downtown Tulsa, and that was kind of cool back then anyways. But that's what it was about back then. So that was my efforts back then. But you guys, you speakers, you talking heads, you gained an audience and you shared ideas that were dangerous to the left. And if anyone has any doubt as to whether or not the left pretty much runs the world, everything that is mainstream, everything that is absolutely just TV, standard radio, internet provision. I mean, culture itself. Gosh, you look at the nature of culture and the set of standard behaviors that we're supposed to follow to be good Americans, you'll see really quick, the left rules the world. They really do. If it hadn't been for you guys pushing back the tide and sharing this dangerous information in this dangerous new world, it would have, there'd have been no hope. It would have rolled over. We would be looking at this from the other side going, holy cow, we aren't allowed to say anything. I mean, not to be hyperbolic, but if it hadn't been for you guys, I don't think there would be any voices to say this in the first place. Anyone who spoke up would be silenced much more effectively than even YouTube, Facebook, Google as a company, all of these folks have and have been able to. The silencing would be much more complete, we'll say. So on you guys, good job. Really, really good job. At the very least, you kept us afloat. So now what I believe it's time to do, as I see the shackles unfolding, as I see First Amendment being pushed in legislature against these tech companies, it gives me hope. It really does. I was young, aggressive, angry, and pissed off when these fires were being lit. In 2007 and 2008, I was rabidly angry because I saw this fire that we're now living in being lit. And I was thinking that the end result was going to be much more violent than this. Of course, everybody back then was convinced that we were just going to have the Civil War tomorrow because it's too far gone, blah, blah, blah. That was the notion. But it ended up just being suppression of speech. No, you act this way. No, you don't say those things. And you can really see it just in the differentiation of behavior between Gen Xers and baby boomers versus millennials. You can just see it in the differentiation of behavior. Those folks they still have a sense of humor. They're still kind of fiery in their behavior. They are outspoken, they're loud, they articulate. The best example I've seen is when Alex Jones went on to Logan Paul's podcast. It was such a hilarious contrast. Because don't get me wrong, Alex Jones, he's kind of a goofy guy to begin with. But you take this millennial Logan Paul, and all we can do is just, oh my gosh, this is so exhausting. Why can't you sit down and talk like a normal person and just be cool, calm, and collected? You've got Alex Jones over in the corner wanting everybody to punch him and just freaking the hell out and shouting at the top of his lungs. And it's just this huge contrast. And I have noticed that a lot of boomers are hyperactive this way. At least everyone in my family is. And my family's another story to begin with, so I don't think I'll go there. But baby boomers, Gen Xers, they've got more to offer. They aren't quiet like we are. They aren't internal thinkers. They aren't deep thinkers. They are very cause, effect, action, and non-action. That's how they operate. And you can see that difference. And that's what happened as a result of the fires being lit in 2007 through 2010. That's what I believe. That's the way we became. We became this quiet, introverted group who we can't be bothered with drama. We can't be bothered with a real fight. We've all turned into Socrates, or so we think, and we're just gonna think our way through this and talk our way through this. And I don't know, I mean, it's a generational difference. I can't say that it's the worst thing in the world, but it definitely is the result of everything we've seen over these past years, but it sure as hell wasn't no Red Dawn. It sure as hell wasn't no massive civil war where everybody got out their guns and had to learn to eat their rations and had to live off of their water supplies. No, that's not what happened. What happened is we created a massive generational rift where one group acts like what we perceive as lunatics and what they perceive as normal and fun, and while we act like a bunch of just pseudo-intellectuals. That's basically what happened. So that is basically the result we had from these years past. And honestly, who knows what it would have been like if it hadn't been for the right-wing speakers along the way. So, what is it like being a YouTuber in 2019? It's scary. Not in the sense that, you know, all this matters, because in my case, I don't suppose it really does. I spent a lot of time not doing this. But it's scary in the sense that, am I going to be able to make the change that I'm seeking to make? Am I going to be able to influence the people that I'm seeking to influence? I don't know. It's a real big maybe. Real big maybe. Because, well, legislation might get it through. They might be able to make it so that these social media companies have to decide whether they're a platform or a publisher. They might force them to make that decision. They might get it across to us that everybody's opinion matters. You know? It's like I've said in the past, it's not really hypocrisy if you try your best to bring in as many opinions as possible. What it does is it paints a whole picture. Nuance is important. If you're all right or if you're all left, you are a stunted individual, and it's not a valuable, you cannot come up with or work with a valuable set of beliefs or offer a valuable viewpoint. It's just not there for you. So you need to be rounded. You need to have something more than just what snaps into your head in the first moment. You need to take that time. Hopefully this has been helpful to those of you looking to get your voices heard on YouTube as a platform in 2019. Hopefully to those who already know me, this is just a little bit more of a layout of kind of what we've seen. And I guess the message at the end of the day is just keep going. Just keep going. I have been convinced, and I'm finally starting to break it, as we've all been convinced for a very long time, that this is all going to fall apart and be ruined any minute now. The collapse of our systems, the collapse of the things we believe in, it is just any minute now. The war is lost. This is all broken. It's going to fall to shit any minute now. And that's kind of been the way we've all been living, myself included, for the longest time now. And I guess I'm finally ready to believe that maybe that's not the case. I was talking to an older guy not too many years ago, and he says, look, we felt the same way in the 60s and the 70s, that this is all going to break any minute, and we're still trucking along. Are we damaged so badly that it's not worth it, that it's even a bad thing? As in, would we prefer the system to collapse instead of living the way we're living? Is it that bad? I don't think so. I thought if things didn't break, that's the way it would be. Like, it would be so oppressive and so just drawn out and boring that it wouldn't be worth going through it under those circumstances. It would be better if it just collapsed. It'd be better if we had the war and the food shortages and the, Red Dawn and all that. I thought it'd be better, but I guess it didn't get that bad. It did get pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, man. 2007 to now, it's a night and day difference, man. It was a lot more fun back then. And finding fun nowadays, and it could be just because I'm getting old. I feel old. I feel very old. It could just be that I'm not seeing things from the right perspective anymore because of my age. but it just doesn't feel fun anymore. Things have changed a lot, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and I don't think it's going to get as bad as we think it will. That's my 2 cents on that. I think there's still hope. I think that no matter what happens, the left, the hard left, is always going to push for more power. They are. They have the highest concentration of the people who want versus the people who want to be left alone. That's my opinion. That hasn't always been the case, obviously, as classical liberal was the total opposite, whereas modern liberal is authoritarian. So something happened there. I believe it can be undone. We can convince them that it's worth it to have freedom again. Anyways, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll be looking forward to catching up with you next time. Y'all have a good one. So hey guys, it's about 8 hours later, and I just wanted to clear up something I said this morning on the drive-in video that has since been clarified for me, and I wanted to make sure that what I said was accurate. Turns out I have, yes, my channel has monetization disabled, but it's because I'm an idiot and I set up my AdSense not realizing that the old channel, which I mentioned earlier today with the 32 subscribers, yeah, apparently that linked right to me and AdSense threw a fit, and so they disabled it for that reason. So I figure I should be able to go in there, fix that up, delete the old account, all that good stuff, set up the correct settings for my current one, and be, monetized. Cool. Good stuff. So, didn't want to finish out the day or put out a video with inaccurate information, so just figured I'd clear that up. Hope you guys have a great day.